These 15 road trip meals cost less than a single gas station purchase, and not one of them needs a cooler or a refrigerator. But here's what's wild. Every gas station, every highway drive-through, and every rest stop convenience store along your next road trip is counting on you not knowing what's on this list. Most people don't know this, but the average American family spends over $200 on gas station food and fast food stops during a single road trip. $200 on reheated hot dogs, shrink-wrapped sandwiches, and fountain drinks that cost the store pennies to pour. And the worst part is, none of it keeps you full. You're hungry again in an hour, pulling off at the next exit, swiping your card again. That's not an accident. That's the business model. Hi, I'm Mary. Today, I'm sharing simple road trip meals that stay fresh without a refrigerator so you can eat well, save money, and skip the gas station food. But long before the highway food trap existed, travelers crossed entire continents carrying shelf-stable, non-perishable meals that cost almost nothing, lasted for weeks, and actually kept the body fueled. The Quechua people of South America dried meat in the mountain air over 500 years ago. Highland Scots carried oatmeal pouches on month-long journeys. Ancient nomads packed crushed nuts and dried fruits across trade routes spanning thousands of miles. They didn't need a cooler or an ice chest. They didn't need a credit card. And they definitely didn't need a gas station. The 15 meals on this list cost a fraction of what you'd spend at a single highway rest stop. Under $30 total feeds a family for a 3-day trip, and every one of them sits on a shelf at your local grocery store right now. These aren't just road trip foods. Most of them double as camping food or hiking snacks, which is why outdoor travelers have sworn by them for generations. Number 1 is so ridiculously simple and so cheap that once you hear it, you'll never pull into a drive-thru on a road trip again. And number 13 has been quietly outsmarting the entire cooler industry for over 1,000 years. So here they are. 15 easy road trip meals that don't need a refrigerator, ranked from impressive to absolutely legendary. Number 15. Instant oatmeal cups, the pocket fuel that powered the Highlands. For centuries, Highland Scots carried small pouches of oatmeal on journeys that lasted weeks. No fire required most of the time. They'd mix the oats with cold water from a stream and eat it raw. That was breakfast, lunch, and dinner for soldiers, shepherds, and travelers crossing some of the most brutal terrain in Europe. Oats have been cultivated for over 4,000 years, with the oldest archaeological findings traced back to ancient Egypt. The Scots turned them into a national staple because their climate was too cold for wheat, and oats thrived where nothing else would. Modern science has caught up. Studies confirm that the beta-glucan fiber in oats lowers cholesterol, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you full for hours. Exactly what you need behind the wheel. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Grab a pack of instant oatmeal cups from any grocery store for under $3. Add hot water from any gas station, coffee station, it's free, and you've got a filling hot breakfast without spending a dime at the register. Top it with a squeeze of honey or a handful of dried fruit you packed from home. Oatmeal got buried under flashy protein bars and expensive smoothie chains, but those cost $5 to $8 a serving and leave you crashing by the next exit. A cup of oatmeal costs about 30 cents and keeps you fueled for the long haul. It's probably sitting in your pantry right now. Number 14. Crackers and shelf-stable cheese. The ration that kept armies marching. Before refrigeration existed, armies and navies survived on 2 things: hardtack and aged cheese. Hardtack was a dense, dry cracker baked so thoroughly that moisture couldn't touch it. Roman legions carried versions of it across Europe. British sailors lived on ship's biscuit for months at sea. And hard cheese, the kind aged long enough to survive without cold storage, traveled alongside it in nearly every military supply chain in recorded history. These 2 foods kept more soldiers alive than any battle strategy ever written. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that whole grain crackers deliver complex carbohydrates for sustained energy, while aged cheeses like Parmesan and cheddar provide concentrated protein and calcium without refrigeration for hours. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pack a box of whole grain crackers and a few wedges of shelf-stable cheese. The kind that comes individually wrapped and sits on the regular grocery shelf, not in the deli cooler. Pair them together and you've got what road trippers call the adult Lunchable. It feels substantial. It satisfies the crunch craving that makes people pull over for chips, and it costs about $2 for enough to feed 2 people. The gas station version of this, a pack of processed cheese crackers behind the register, runs you $4 and delivers half the nutrition. Crackers and real cheese got overshadowed by single-serve snack packs engineered for markup. But the original pairing is still sitting on the shelf at every grocery store you've ever walked into. Number 13. Dried fruit and nut butter packets. The ancient nomads' energy system hiding in aisle 7. Ancient nomadic tribes carried mixtures of dried fruits and crushed nuts across trade routes that stretched thousands of miles. These weren't snacks. They were engineered fuel, lightweight, calorie-dense, and completely immune to spoilage. The practice of drying fruit for preservation has been traced across cultures on every inhabited continent, from Middle Eastern date traders to African merchants moving goods across the Sahara. Grinding nuts into paste is just as old. The Aztecs crushed peanuts into a thick paste centuries before any brand put it in a jar. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that the combination of natural sugars from dried fruit and healthy fats from nut butter creates a dual energy release, a quick spike from the fruit, followed by sustained fuel from the fat and protein. That dual release is essentially a low glycemic index response in action. Your blood sugar rises gradually, instead of spiking and crashing, which is exactly the energy profile long-haul drivers need. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pick up a bag of dried mango, apricots or raisins, and a box of individual nut butter squeeze packets. 1 packet of almond or peanut butter paired with a handful of dried fruit delivers more sustained energy than any candy bar in the gas station checkout aisle, for about a quarter of the price. The convenience store wants you to grab a $3 candy bar that spikes your blood sugar and crashes you in 45 minutes. A bag of dried fruit and a box of nut butter packets costs under $5 total and lasts an entire weekend trip. This combination has been hiding in plain sight at every grocery store in the country, and most travelers walk right past it on their way to the snack aisle. Number 12. Shelf-stable hummus and pita chips, the Middle Eastern travel meal that outlasted empires. Chickpeas have been cultivated in the Middle East for over 7,000 years. Long before hummus became a trendy dip at cocktail parties, it was working-class travel food. Ground chickpeas mixed with sesame paste, lemon, and salt, eaten with flatbread by merchants, soldiers, and shepherds crossing some of the driest, hottest terrain on Earth. The combination survived because it had to. No refrigeration in the desert, no supply chains, just a paste that held up in the heat and a bread that wouldn't spoil. Flatbreads like pita are among the oldest foods ever discovered. Archaeologists unearthed a 14,000-year-old flatbread in Jordan that looked remarkably similar to what you'd pull out of a bag today. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that chickpeas are loaded with plant-based protein, fiber, and iron, and the healthy fats in tahini slow digestion and keep you full for hours. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Grab a few of those individual shelf-stable hummus cups from the grocery store. They sit right on the regular shelf, no refrigeration needed, and pair them with a bag of pita chips. 1 cup of hummus and a handful of pita chips gives you a complete meal's worth of protein, carbs, and fat for under $2. The gas station equivalent is a soggy pre-made sandwich wrapped in plastic that costs $6 and tastes like it was made 3 days ago. Hummus and pita got buried under an avalanche of overpriced grab-and-go snack packs, but the original pairing is 7,000 years old and still outperforms every one of them. It's sitting in the chip aisle right now, waiting for you to notice it. Number 11. Instant ramen and noodle cups. The post-war invention that quietly feeds more travelers than any fast food chain on Earth. In 1958, a Taiwanese-Japanese entrepreneur named Momofuku Ando invented instant ramen. He wasn't trying to create a snack. He was trying to solve a crisis. Post-war Japan was facing devastating food shortages, and Ando watched people line up in freezing weather for a single bowl of noodle soup. He spent an entire year in a small shed behind his house, experimenting until he cracked it. A flash frying process that removed moisture from the noodles and made them shelf-stable for months. That single invention changed how the world eats on the move. Modern science has caught up. The carbohydrates in instant noodles deliver rapid energy, and upgraded versions now include vegetable packets and protein add-ins that bring the nutrition closer to a full meal. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pack a few instant noodle cups in your car. When you stop for gas, walk inside, fill the cup with hot water from the coffee station, free of charge, and you've got a hot meal in 3 minutes without spending a penny at the counter. Add a squeezed packet of soy sauce or a handful of crushed peanuts from your snack bag, and it goes from basic to genuinely satisfying. A cup of instant ramen costs under $1. The fast food combo meal at the drive-thru next to that same gas station costs $9 to $12 and leaves you sluggish within the hour. The highway food industry built its entire model on the assumption that you don't have a hot meal in your back seat. Instant ramen is probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now, and it's been quietly outsmarting that model since 1958. Number 10. Canned beans and tortillas. The empire-building combination that costs less than a gallon of gas. The Aztec and Maya civilizations didn't just eat beans and corn tortillas. They built entire empires on them. Corn was first cultivated in Mesoamerica by the 6th millennium BC, and the tortilla, a thin, unleavened flatbread cooked on a clay griddle called a comal, became the most consumed food across the entire region. Beans were the protein, tortillas were the vehicle. Together, they formed a complete protein that sustained millions of people for thousands of years without a single cold storage facility in sight. The Aztecs ate 2 or 3 tortillas with every meal, often dipped in chili sauce, and it fueled everything from farming to warfare. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that the combination of beans and corn creates a complete amino acid profile, meaning together they deliver the same quality of protein as meat. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pack a few small cans of beans, black beans, refried beans, or seasoned pinto beans with a pull-tab lid, and a pack of flour tortillas. Open a can, spoon beans onto a tortilla, roll it up, and you've got a meal that would have made an Aztec warrior nod in approval. Total cost is about $3 for enough to make 4 or 5 wraps. The Taco Bell at the next highway exit charges you $8 for roughly the same ingredients wrapped in a logo. Beans and tortillas got overshadowed by the fast food industry that repackaged this exact combination at a massive markup. But the original version is still cheaper, healthier, and sitting in aisle 3 of every grocery store in the country. Number 9. Granola and energy bars. The concentrated fuel brick that predates every protein shake on the market. The idea of compressing grains, nuts, and sweetener into a portable energy block is older than most people realize. Ancient travelers mixed crushed grains with honey and dried fruit to create dense, calorie-rich bars that could survive weeks of travel without spoiling. The concept shows up across cultures, from Middle Eastern halva made with sesame and honey to pemmican, the Native American mixture of dried meat, rendered fat, and berries that sustained entire expeditions across North America. European explorers sought out pemmican specifically because nothing else delivered that much energy in that small a package. Modern science has caught up. Studies confirm that the combination of whole-grain oats, nuts, and natural sugars in a quality granola bar delivers both immediate and sustained energy, exactly the dual-release fuel profile that keeps a driver alert without the crash. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Skip the gas station energy bar rack where a single bar costs $3 to $4. Buy a box of 12 granola or energy bars at the grocery store for under $5 total. Toss the whole box in your back seat. Each bar delivers the same energy as a small meal, takes up 0 space, and never needs refrigeration. The gas station markup on energy bars is one of the highest margins in the entire convenience store. They're counting on you being hungry and having no alternative. A box from the grocery store sitting behind your passenger seat destroys that business model entirely. It's probably already in your pantry right now. Number 8. Tuna and salmon pouches with crackers. The preserved fish that's been feeding travelers since the first tin can. The preservation of fish in sealed containers dates back to 1824, when the first factory was established to package tinned sardines. But humans have been drying and preserving fish for far longer than that. Coastal cultures around the world, from Scandinavian fishermen smoking salmon to Japanese producers crafting dried bonito, understood that preserved fish was the most efficient way to carry protein across long distances. It lasted, it was lightweight, and it delivered nutrients that dried grains alone couldn't match. Today's tuna and salmon pouches are the direct descendants of that tradition, just in a lighter, easier-to-open package. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that fish pouches deliver 14 to 17 grams of protein per serving, along with omega-3 fatty acids that support heart health, joint health, and cognitive function. Exactly the nutrients that keep a driver sharp on a long haul. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Grab a few flavored tuna or salmon pouches, teriyaki, lemon pepper, Mediterranean herb, and pair them with a sleeve of whole grain crackers. Tear open the pouch, spoon it onto crackers, and you've got a high-protein meal that takes 10 seconds to assemble and costs about $2. The gas station deli counter charges you $7 to $9 for a pre-made tuna sandwich that's been sitting under fluorescent lights since 6 in the morning. A tuna pouch costs $1.50, has a shelf life of over 2 years, and tastes better than anything wrapped in cellophane behind that register. It's sitting in the canned goods aisle right now, and it fits in your glove box. Number 7. Tortilla wraps with nut butter and honey. The 14,000-year-old meal that takes 30 seconds to make. Flatbreads are the oldest prepared food ever discovered. Archaeologists unearthed a 14,000-year-old flatbread in a stone fireplace in Jordan's Black Desert, made from wild cereals ground into a sticky dough and baked on a hot rock. That single discovery pushed back the timeline of bread by thousands of years. And the principle hasn't changed. Tortillas, naan, pita, lavash, every culture on Earth developed some version of a thin, portable, shelf-stable bread designed to wrap around whatever filling was available. The Aztecs called them tlaxcali and ate 2 or 3 with every meal. The concept of wrapping calorie-dense filling inside portable bread is quite literally older than agriculture itself. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that the combination of complex carbohydrates from a whole wheat tortilla, healthy fats from nut butter, and simple sugars from honey creates a 3-stage energy release: immediate, sustained, and slow burn that keeps blood sugar stable for hours. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pack a bag of flour tortillas, a jar of peanut or almond butter, and a squeeze bottle of honey. Spread, drizzle, roll, eat. 30 seconds. No utensils, no mess, no refrigeration. Total cost for enough wraps to feed a family for an entire day of driving is under $4. The fast food breakfast sandwich at the highway exit costs $5 for one, and it'll have you crashing before you cross the state line. Tortilla wraps got buried under the drive-through marketing machine that convinced an entire generation that breakfast has to come through a car window, but the original wrap is 14,000 years old, and it's sitting on your kitchen counter right now. If you're starting to see the pattern here, if you're realizing that the highway food industry has been charging you premium prices for meals that your great-grandparents made for pennies, do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps this video reach people who are tired of overpaying for bad food on the road. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because we're just getting to the meals that will change the way you travel for good. Number 6. Shelf-stable salami, hard cheese, and crackers. The charcuterie board that kept Roman legions fed for months. Cured meats are one of the oldest food preservation technologies in human history. The Romans perfected the art of salting, drying, and aging pork into what they called salsamentum, the ancestor of every salami and cured sausage sitting in your grocery store today. Roman legions carried cured meat and hard cheese as standard field rations because they survived brutal heat, long marches, and supply chain failures that would destroy any fresh food within days. Hard cheeses like Parmesan, aged cheddar, and Pecorino were engineered by centuries of Italian and European cheesemakers, specifically to last without refrigeration. The aging process removes enough moisture that bacteria can't take hold. Modern science has caught up. Studies confirm that cured meats deliver concentrated protein and sodium for sustained energy, while aged hard cheeses provide calcium, fat, and additional protein in a calorie-dense package that doesn't spoil at room temperature for hours. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pick up a stick of dry salami, the kind that sits on the regular shelf, not in the deli cooler, a wedge of Parmesan or aged cheddar, and a box of crackers. Slice, stack, eat. You just built a charcuterie board in your passenger seat for under $6 that feeds 2 people. The gas station version of this, a prepackaged meat and cheese snack tray behind the register, costs $7 for a portion half the size with processed ingredients you can't pronounce. The convenience store repackaged the Roman legion's field ration, shrunk it, tripled the price, and hoped you wouldn't notice. The original is sitting in the grocery aisle, and it's been working for over 2,000 years. Number 5. Overnight oats with shelf-stable milk, the soaked grain that fueled Celtic warriors and Nordic seafarers. Long before overnight oats became an Instagram trend, soaking grains in liquid overnight was standard practice for travelers who needed a meal ready the moment they woke up. Nordic seafarers soaked oats in whatever liquid they had, water, milk, whey, and ate them cold at dawn before pushing off into open water. Scottish Highlanders did the same, mixing raw oats with cold water in a wooden drawer called a porridge drawer, letting it set overnight, and slicing off portions to eat throughout the day's march. The concept is ancient. Prepare tonight, eat tomorrow, no fire needed. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that soaking oats breaks down phytic acid, making the nutrients more bioavailable, while the slow-digesting fiber and complex carbohydrates provide steady energy that lasts for hours without a blood sugar spike. Here's the traditional use that still works today. The night before your road trip, dump a cup of rolled oats into a mason jar or sealed container. Pour in a box of shelf-stable milk, the kind that sits on the regular grocery shelf at room temperature. Add a spoonful of nut butter and a handful of dried fruit. Seal it. By morning, you've got a cold, creamy, filling breakfast that requires 0 cooking, 0 refrigeration overnight, and $0 at the drive-thru window. Total cost is about 75 cents per serving. The highway Starbucks charges you $6 for a cup of oatmeal with fewer toppings. Overnight oats got rebranded as a wellness trend, but the original version has been feeding sailors and warriors for centuries, and the ingredients are sitting in your kitchen right now. Number 4. Instant mashed potatoes with pouched chicken or tuna, the field ration that won wars and costs less than a vending machine snack. Dehydrated provisions have sustained armies and pioneers through some of the most grueling journeys in recorded history. The concept of removing water from food to make it lighter, shelf-stable, and easy to reconstitute dates back centuries. From dried potato flakes used by Andean communities in the high mountains of Peru to military ration packs designed to keep soldiers fed in the field without supply lines. The Quechua people of the Andes created chuño, freeze-dried potatoes, made by exposing them to overnight frost and then sun-drying them over 1,000 years ago. That same principle is what sits in every box of instant mashed potatoes on your grocery shelf today. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that potatoes are one of the most satiating foods on Earth, ranking higher than nearly every other carbohydrate source on the satiety index. Paired with a protein pouch, you've got a complete meal that keeps hunger locked down for hours. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Pack a few packets of instant mashed potatoes and a couple of tuna or chicken pouches. When you stop for gas, grab a cup, add hot water from the coffee station, stir in the potato flakes, and top with a pouched protein. 3 minutes, $1.50. A hot, filling, complete meal assembled at a gas station without buying a single thing from their food case. The gas station hot dog on the roller grill next to you costs $4, has been spinning since dawn, and delivers a fraction of the nutrition. Instant mashed potatoes got dismissed as lazy cooking, but the Andean freeze-drying technique behind them is over 1,000 years old, and the packets are sitting in your pantry right now. Number 3. DIY trail mix. The ancient nomad's invention that a camping guide made famous in 1906. Ancient nomadic tribes and hunters carried mixtures of dried fruits and nuts for sustenance on journeys that lasted months. This wasn't a recipe. It was a survival system. Lightweight, calorie-dense, immune to spoilage, and customizable based on whatever was available in the region. The practice spans every inhabited continent. Middle Eastern traders packed dates and almonds. African merchants carried groundnuts across the Sahara. European travelers mixed dried berries with hazelnuts. The modern name showed up in 1906 when the outdoor writer Horace Kephart wrote in his camping guide that a handful of shelled nuts, a handful of raisins, and a cake of sweet chocolate would carry a man far on the trail or when he had lost it. By 1968, 2 California surfers had mixed peanuts and raisins for a quick energy hit, and the term trail mix entered the commercial market. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that the combination of healthy fats from nuts, natural sugars from dried fruit, and antioxidants from dark chocolate creates one of the most nutrient-dense portable food combinations available, delivering sustained energy, cognitive support, and satiety in a single handful. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Buy nuts, dried fruit, and dark chocolate chips in bulk, and mix your own in a gallon zip bag. Customize it however you want. Cashews and dried mango, almonds and cranberries, peanuts and raisins with a handful of chocolate. A gallon bag costs under $5 and lasts an entire multi-day road trip. The gas station sells a 4-ounce bag of trail mix for $4.50. Your homemade version gives you 10 times the volume for the same price. The convenience store markup on trail mix is one of the most aggressive in the entire snack aisle, and they're banking on the fact that you didn't spend 3 minutes mixing your own before you left. The ingredients are sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Number 2. Beef or turkey jerky with dried fruit. The 500-year-old road trip meal that predates the automobile by centuries. The word jerky comes from the Quechua word charqui, meaning dried salted meat. The Quechua people of the Inca Empire in South America developed this preservation method over 500 years ago, cutting meat into thin strips, salting it, and drying it in the cold mountain air of the Andes until it became lightweight, shelf-stable, and packed with concentrated protein. This wasn't a snack. It was the technology that allowed human beings to travel vast distances without supply lines. Native American tribes, including the Cree and Sioux, adapted the same technique using buffalo and elk, sometimes mixing the dried meat with rendered fat and berries to create pemmican, a complete portable food so effective that European explorers sought it out specifically for their expeditions. Drying meat is the oldest form of food preservation on Earth, traced back to the Cro-Magnon era roughly 40,000 years ago. Modern science has caught up. Studies confirm that beef jerky delivers 20 to 30 grams of protein per serving, with minimal fat and zero need for refrigeration, making it one of the most efficient portable protein sources available. Paired with dried fruit, you get the complete energy profile: protein for sustained fuel and natural sugars for immediate energy. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Grab a bag of quality beef or turkey jerky and a bag of dried mango, apricots, or mixed dried fruit. Alternate bites. The salty protein and the sweet fruit create a flavor combination that satisfies every craving and keeps you full for hours. Total cost is about $7 for enough to cover an entire day of driving. The gas station charges you $6 for a single small bag of jerky and another $3 for a bag of dried fruit. $9 for the same thing you could have packed for $7. Jerky got repackaged as a gas station impulse buy at a premium markup, but the original charqui has been the ultimate travel food for 5 centuries, and a bag of it is probably sitting in your pantry right now. Number 1. Peanut butter on bagels. The meal so simple, so cheap, and so indestructible that it makes every other road trip food look like it's trying too hard. Every other meal on this list requires at least some assembly: a pouch to open, a cup to fill, a can to pull. This one requires nothing: a bag of bagels and a jar of peanut butter. That's it. Bagels are the perfect road trip bread because they don't crush. Throw a bag of bagels into a backpack, a duffel bag, or the bottom of a cooler you're not even using for cold storage, and they come out looking exactly the same 12 hours later. Regular sliced bread gets flattened in the first 30 minutes. Bagels are engineered by their shape and density to survive anything a road trip throws at them. And peanut butter is one of the most shelf-stable, calorie-dense, protein-rich foods ever mass-produced. No refrigeration, no expiration for months, no preparation beyond unscrewing a lid. The combination traces back to the earliest principles of portable food: dense bread paired with concentrated fat and protein. Flatbreads and nut pastes have traveled together for thousands of years across every culture that had access to both. Modern science has caught up. Research confirms that peanut butter delivers 7 to 8 grams of protein per serving, along with healthy monounsaturated fats that keep you full and focused, while a single bagel provides the complex carbohydrates needed for steady energy. Together, they deliver a complete macronutrient profile: protein, fat, and carbs, in a package that costs about 50 cents per serving. Here's the traditional use that still works today. Buy a bag of 6 bagels for $3 and a jar of peanut butter for $4. That's $7 for 12 meals. 12. The McDonald's at the next highway exit charges you $7 for a single breakfast sandwich that won't keep you full past the next rest stop. Peanut butter on a bagel keeps you fueled for hours, survives any temperature, requires 0 utensils, and generates 0 trash beyond a twist tie and a lid. The entire fast food highway industry exists because people forgot that the simplest meal is still the best one. A bag of bagels is sitting on your kitchen counter right now. A jar of peanut butter is in your cabinet. You already own the greatest road trip meal ever invented. You just didn't know it yet. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you just learned something the highway food industry has been hoping you'd never figure out. Every meal on this list costs less than a single gas station purchase. Every one of them sits on a shelf at your local grocery store right now. And every one of them has been keeping travelers fed for decades, centuries, or in some cases, thousands of years. Long before anyone tried to convince you that you needed a cooler, a drive-through, or a rest stop food court to survive a car ride. The gas station isn't selling you food. It's selling you the illusion that you forgot to prepare. These 15 meals prove you didn't. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about road trip food. Drop a comment below and tell me which meal surprised you the most. Are you team peanut butter on bagels? Team beef jerky and dried fruit? Or team tortilla wraps with nut butter and honey? I read every comment and I love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We're here every week helping you travel smarter, spend less, and eat better on the road. Remember, sometimes the best meal on a road trip isn't at the next exit. Sometimes it's already in your kitchen, just waiting for you to pack it.